everyone, welcome to the Sense of Humor podcast where we talk anything pop culture, anything that interests us. We're your hosts, Tyler or Multimite, and Travis or Griffin Shock.
Hello.
So, yeah,
Hello,
I was gonna say,
hello.
how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How about you, buddy?
Just work, more so than anything, but I'm a little disappointed in myself because first things first, to all of those who follow my gaming channel, the reason why I haven't uploaded in a while is because I'm trying to fix the last part in the first story of Destiny 1's episode because the audio got corrupted again. So I'm trying to be I'm trying to fix it as best as I can because, I still want to upload it for everyone because I don't want to leave everyone on a cliffhanger and then have nothing to watch. So, but I
Yeah.
have I don't know, maybe 5, 6 videos ready to edit, and then I have to upload them. But I also have to do the thumbnails. So I don't know. It's been a little hectic there, but
I mean,
other than
you
that,
also hand make your what are they called? You just said it.
thumbnails.
Thumbnails, yeah. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty
and I
cool.
mean, I think it's fun to do because at the end of the day it's just drawing. But yeah, no, it's a long process. Because the first things first is I have to figure out what I'm gonna draw to draw people's attention, and then the other thing is actually executing the process. So rough sketch, then outline, then draw, or then color, then shading and lighting. So, but what about you? Anything new? I know you were talking about getting a new job. Did that ever happen, or are you still at the same place?
So, they were supposed to call me back Tuesday, Wednesday. They never did. So I called him on Friday, and I was like, "Hey, like what's going on? Are you interested or no?" And he goes, "Is it okay if I schedule you for a second interview with a different manager?" And
Uh,
I go, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." And he goes, "It's nothing bad, And I go, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Yeah, when can you come in?" And so it's scheduled for Monday. When you're supposed to have a second interview. My parents and some of my coworkers and my fiance say that it's not a bad thing to have a second interview. It's either they think I'm really fit and they want to like me to prove my work, or they want to, me to have an interview with the owner, or they want to give me a higher position of a pay of a job.
oh, that's cool. So you could potentially be getting a higher position right off the get go.
Yeah, potentially. Because like
Uh,
he told me on the phone that he was looking for like a new crew for the summer to start things off new.
mm.
And I applied for a detail position, and literally in my first interview, like the very first one, not even 2 minutes into it, he stops me and he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna call up the detail manager. Is that fine?" I go, "Yeah, sure, that's fine. Go ahead." He calls him, he brings him on up. He goes, "I want you to tell him how you detail a car, like you just told me." I go, "Okay." So I explained what I said to him to the other manager, and the general manager pulls out a piece of paper and puts it down on the table and goes, "You almost recited word for word on how to detail a car that detail manager made 2 weeks ago." I go,
Dang.
"Oh, I hope that's a good thing." He goes, "Yeah, that's a very good thing." So I don't know what could go from here, but I don't think it's anything bad.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good, honestly. if you're already meeting their standards, that could mean like really big potential for you and possibly a career. So, but no, that's awesome. Right, the topic. I I literally so I was on and off about this idea because for those of you who don't know, I'm going to kind of date this, but the same week that we're doing this episode, the first two episodes of the new Daredevil show came out, and I'm a huge fan of the original show, and what
Hmm.
this show is doing is continuing that show, but it's also a part of the MCU, so I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see what they do with it. And they were both really good episodes. I enjoyed both of them a lot. Daredevil is a really kick ass hero. And
Hmm.
honestly, I'm just looking forward to him and Spidey teaming up at some point. I want to see them both do street level crime. Um, but that's not the topic.
Oh,
But
darn.
what
I was
is?
just.
I mean, we can discuss it a little bit, but my main idea was to talk about superhero franchises other than Marvel and DC. So they don't have
Mm,
to be super big, but they're big enough to like where they're noticed or like or well, even that standard doesn't have to be met either. Like just other superhero franchises. But did you watch the 2014 Daredevil show? Like, did you
yeah.
also watch the Netflix
All
show?
season three, like from season
Yeah,
one to season
yeah,
three. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen all
And then
those.
did you see the new two episodes or?
I have. Yeah, I watched them the day after because like there it came out at 9 o'clock on release date, and I was like, I'm not
Oh,
because like over here is 9 o'clock, over there is 6 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm not gonna, like I waited all, the next day. I thought it was gonna come out that day, and that day went from on that day to 9 o'clock, and I go, I'm not gonna stay up till 9 to watch it. So I watched it before I went to work, and I really liked it. Um, I was very sad in the beginning. I won't get into why because I don't want to spoil it for other people. Um, but at the end, I think it's really cool, and it's going to be really cool to see how far he will truly go into it. Like
hmm.
how far he will go with his character, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I really want to see. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of theories speculating like what could happen, and I'll talk to you at after or talk to you after the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. If any of you who are in the chat right now, if you guys have not seen even the first series, which I would recommend highly,
Hmm.
I want to actually go back and watch Punisher because I still haven't watched that
Yeah.
yet,
You
but I've
should.
heard really good things about
So
Punisher.
good.
Yeah, but Daredevil's like one of my newer favorites because of the Netflix show. I just watched it like I think I started watching it on Netflix and then when they got moved to Disney Plus, I finished them. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So what other like superhero franchises? Because like the other one I'm thinking of is like Invincibles. Because I really loved Invincible. That was a real like I was skeptical on it at first until you were telling me about it, and even then I was still a little skeptical. But I watched it all the way through, and the first episode I was like, it's a little all right, and then it picked up more and more and more, and I just got more hooked, and I just ended up saying, "Screw it, I'll watch the whole series."
Yeah, no, and that's actually what made me come up with the topic altogether is because yeah, Invincible is a part of a company called Image Comics and there's a lot of others. I'll mention them later, but yeah, my friend from work, the one I'm doing the comic book with, he's a huge fan of Invincible as well. and he was asking me like, "Are you gonna watch Invincible yet?" And I'm like, I will, I'll get to it at some point." But yeah, no, I've only heard good things about Invincible as well. I will say though, I'm a little hesitant with stuff like Invincible and The Boys, which is the
Oh, that's
other
so cool.
superhero franchise. I'm a little hesitant with the more violent side of superheroes, especially where they put a twist on superheroes where it's not, black and white. There's no all the way good, all the way evil like for those two shows. Like it's a very huge gray area.
Hmm.
Especially with characters like, Homelander and Omni-Man, but
Soldier
also
Boy.
like
Yeah.
yeah, even the good characters like they kind of cross a line and stuff. So, but
I mean,
and
I've
I
always
don't
liked those shows, but I
yeah, and
know
I'm not saying they're
I've always
bad.
like no, I'm just saying like I've always grew up with. It can sound bad, but I always grew up watching and being around like graphical stuff with horror movies and stuff like that. So I just always like shows that like showed the more realistic aspects to it. You know.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm hoping to do with me and my friend's comic. Because for those of you, I've announced it a couple of times, but for those of you who are new to the show, me and a friend from work decided to work on a comic book together. It's like we've talked about it a lot. We just have not started it yet. We've only really played around with a script, and that's because we're both busy at work and other things. So, um, but yeah, we hope to get, or I hope to get inspiration from shows like that for a little bit more realism.
Hmm.
And same with Spider-Man. Like he's a very down to earth like character, even though he's one of the strongest superheroes in the Marvel universe. But and I think that's what I like about it. Um, but there's two other franchises that one of them I know is one of your favorite alternatives to Marvel or DC, and then the other one is probably my favorite alternative from Marvel and DC. But yours would be probably Hellboy, right?
Ah, I love Hellboy. Oh, he loves candy bars. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember because you would talk about Hellboy a lot back in high school.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember when we were younger, like I had no idea, like, um, well, I had an idea on who he was, but I didn't know, like, oh, is he Marvel or he's DC? And he's actually neither. He's a part of a company called Dark Horse Comics. So, yeah, no,
Yeah.
they've done some stuff with that. And I'll kind of go down the list here, but yeah, Hellboy I knew was one of your favorites, but my alternative to Marvel and DC would have to be Spawn. Like I really like the character Spawn, and he's actually made by the guy who invented Venom for Marvel comics.
Mm.
And that's why his eyes are so similar to Venom, is he had kind of a thing for like sharp eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
But that kind of kicked off his career, and then he decided to go and make his own comic with Spawn and everything. And like when I found more about him, he quickly became a favorite of mine. Um, but yeah, there's also characters like Dredd or Judge Dredd. I guess this is kind of under this umbrella, but Power Rangers, the Umbrella Academy.
Ooh, Umbrella Academy is a good show.
I haven't watched it, but I have seen stuff about it. Unbreakable, which is like about a guy that is like invincible or something. Like
Mm.
I don't know, he survived like a train crash or something. I haven't seen it, but I heard it's good. Ben 10,
Ooh,
pretty
Ben
popular
10's
one.
cool. He's a classic.
I was gonna say he's like a Cartoon Network superhero. Um, The Rocketeer. I remember growing up with that movie. It was like a movie that takes place in like I think the early 1900s or something like that, but it's like
Mm.
a guy that gets a jetpack and then, he becomes a superhero with that jetpack. Um, and then moving on to some more comedic characters or superheroes, the Tick is a very popular one.
Yeah.
And then another one that I grew up with, and I think you grew up with him, but a Nickelodeon popular one would have to be Danny Phantom.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and my girls were watching this YouTube video where you have to guess the cartoon show based off of like the theme song. And Danny, like even just like a split, like, a little bit of a tone. I'm like, that's Danny Phantom. She goes, how do you know? I go, trust me, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love Danny Phantom. It actually like gave me or sparked some ideas for like superheroes of my own that we'll probably use for the comic book. But then there's also shows like My Hero Academia, which I really like and I've recommended to you a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, at least from what I recognize, I'm sure there's plenty of other amazing superhero stuff, but Megamind, which is another comedy one.
Yeah. I, oh, also, what's the alien movie? What's the name of the alien movie where the girl's giant and it's got Bob in it? Uh,
Oh, Monsters versus Aliens. I
yeah,
guess you could
that's.
consider that superhero, if like you consider each of the monsters like a hero.
I mean, they're going from what people assumed were bad to becoming good people and then saving the world. I mean, I guess I mean I consider it a superhero movie because it's like a group of people who are different from one another come together as one to save humanity from something that's gonna go bad. I think that's in my idea of like a definition of superhero. But
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like that. I guess here, let me look up two definitions real quick.
okay.
So, definition of a hero is a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. A war hero is just an example. Or definition of a superhero, a benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers. So, I mean, like, there is kind of a difference between, like, superhero and just straight up a hero because like a hero could be considered like anyone that does good deeds or like goes out of their way to do stuff for other people
Yeah.
excluding themselves from that like
Like we could be
like
heroes, you know?
yeah, anyone can be a hero, like anyone who's just admired or idealized and for like being brave or you know or just noble qualities as this like last one says, but it originated from Greece, which makes sense because a lot of legends from Greek mythology and stuff center around heroes such as like Hercules and
Yeah.
stuff. um But yeah. So I guess that's kind of our classification as like a superhero. So I'm trying to like think, you know, like because what would follow under that genre at that point? Because if it's
Um,
just people with powers
do
that
they
do
have to be?
good deeds,
Yeah.
then it wouldn't exactly have to be classified as like you know Marvel or DC only. Like it doesn't have to be a team of people with powers that, fight like a big,
Yeah, like,
army together. Like it doesn't have to qualify under Avengers or Justice League only. Um, I mean, if we, well, I guess
because I mean, there's
I don't
Ninja
know.
Turtles, and then there's Big Hero 6, which is, I guess, some people have the theory that that Big Hero 6 is Marvel because that one weird rich kid, his dad's, I guess, Stan Lee.
So in Marvel Comics, there is a title called Big Hero 6, but it's very different from the actual like animated movie. So
Oh,
yes, you're correct. It is technically a Marvel property, but it is like far from the original material. So like it's different enough to where it probably wouldn't be classified as Marvel. But yeah, the reference to like Stanley being, Fred's dad and everything is like, to kind of connect, yeah, the two universes. But you just reminded me of another superhero franchise, which was The Incredibles, which is also a superhero film that is not Marvel or DC. And we are excluding Disney. Like, yes, they own.
they own. I could
Sorry,
take a guess and
my
say it.
yeah, my headset unplugged, but
Okay.
um what I was saying though is like apart from, Disney owning Marvel, we're talking about just like superheroes without the Marvel or DC title, behind it or company
hmm
behind it. So, um
Do you classify, real quick, I need to know this answer. Do you classify Ninja Turtles as superheroes or
I would
just
say so
heroes?
because like if you think about it, they were originally turtles and it was the ooze that gave them intelligence and stuff. Like it never said that a superhero had to be a human, I don't think. Like if I look back at the um definition, a
Because, I mean,
benevolent
like,
it says a benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers, but like I
uh,
mean, like I don't know. I would you classify intelligence and like physique as powers when it comes to being like an actual turtle. Like I feel like yeah, they could be considered superheroes. And even if not, like it would be considered under like a superhero comic at the very least. But yeah, no, I would say so. Cuz
okay. Because,
if
I
you
mean, like, if you want to, like, say Captain America is a superhero, I mean, he just was a kid from Brooklyn that got injected with this non-tested serum
but
and he became a super soldier.
he does have powers though is the thing. So a lot of people don't
Yeah.
or probably don't know this, but it not only increased his muscle and his strength, but he also has like a small healing factor and it increased his brain activity, and that's why he's able to like measure out, how to throw his shield. It like literally gave him like basically a mathematician's brain to, you know, deal with physics, even though, his
It
shield
like un it
defies
yeah,
physics.
it like peeled off a hidden wall of knowledge that we can't unpeel.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Captain America is not only, super strong and like, super healing and everything, but he's super, like smart in terms of like tactics and stuff. Like, I mean, he was a captain in the war in the World War II, so but sorry. um
You're good.
Yeah, no, that's a good point though, is like cuz I mean again, people could like, classify things cuz I was thinking for a second like, oh, Call of Duty like Task Force 141 and I'm like, well, they don't have superpowers, but they're like a team of heroes that, goes covert and everything. So I guess I wouldn't consider them exactly superheroes, but they're, still cool and everything. Um, I guess that begs the question: would Star Wars fall under superheroes? Because
Hmm. Okay, if you want to know my personal opinion on that, I'll say yes. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no,
like,
you're good.
I'll just say yeah because like they're human, but they learned the knowledge of how to use the Force, and you know, I that's as much as like I know. I don't know if it's like you have to be born into it or to like anybody can just learn it. Because I think like as what they were showing is that like anybody could learn how to use the Force.
Yeah, so from what I understand is that everyone has a midichlorian count, but like only the highest get noticed by the Jedi. Um, but and the Jedi is technically a religion too. It's like, you know, like other religions like Christianity and stuff, but you know, their belief is like basically that of like being uh oh, what are they called? The ones that can't get married or, have sex or anything. I can't remember. Like there was
Oh,
there was a bunch of religions that George Lucas kind of like got in inspiration from. Like I know the samurai was a huge inspiration
mm-hmm.
for the Jedi. Like
Oh, there's the nuns,
yeah, nuns, but like there's also like not priests, but and I don't think it's
Buddha,
pope, but like it's like it's
Buddha, a
well,
monk.
monks, yes, monks I would consider that a part of it as well, yes. Because there's meditation and, like focus and such, and like being one with life, and
Hmm.
so, you know.
I
Um,
do like the concept of that. Now, what about G.I. Joe?
do
There's
any of
no
them
super
I was gonna say,
have
do any of
powers,
them
right?
actually have powers? Because, like, I know a lot of them have skills. I feel like that would fall under something like Call of Duty, where, like, they all have great skills, but no powers. So I would say
Okay.
no. But then again, like, I don't know, would Iron Man's suit be considered a weapon instead of a power? Because, I mean, he's also very
Yeah.
intelligent, but then he's also got the arc reactor. So, like, I don't know. I feel like the
I
term
mean, that's like the
superhero.
same concept about Batman too. Because Batman, yeah, he has the combat skills, but the suit and his gadgets are the main reason why he can do what he can do. So it's mostly just like military tactics than it is actual like powers.
I guess that's true. So, I mean, I mean, if Batman on his own wasn't considered like a part of, well, he's a part of a superhero universe, but he himself is not considered a superhero. But because he's a
Yeah.
part of a superhero universe, his comics would be under the category of superhero. But that's only, I think,
Yeah.
because of his affiliation with other characters that have powers. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't think we were going to get into a really cool discussion about like defining superhero, but I think that's very important when it comes to like establishing like other franchises that are stuff other
Yeah.
than the big two. Like, yes, I love Marvel. It will always be my favorite. It will always hold a special part in my heart, especially Spider-Man. I grew up with him. But there are other cool franchises, and I think that's the problem with you know, a lot of smaller superheroes and stuff is a lot of people don't know them because they haven't been explored like, Marvel and DC. And granted, kind of like what I said before, like, franchises like Invincible and the Boys aren't exactly family friendly, and that's not why they're not as shared as like the Marvel heroes like Spider-Man or Batman. But even like their characters can fall under some dark stuff. But I don't know, like even Daredevil, like he's a religious character, but he's one of the characters that has like a TVMA show. Like it's like
Yeah.
that. So. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think what, cuz like I don't know. I would love, if anything, cuz I'm going to talk to my friend about this. The rating, if it was like a movie, I'd want it to be TV, or well, it for TV it would be TV 14, for movie it'd be PG 13. And that's kind of where I'd want like the majority of our storytelling in terms of rating. Like I'm sure like if our comics grew traction at some point, maybe we'd hire writers that would want to go into some more, rated R stuff. But for the most part, I'd want to keep it kind of family friendly, like Marvel and DC. Um, but I think why popular franchises that are outside of Marvel and DC do the rated R thing is because Marvel and DC chose to go like the PG route, you know? So,
I mean, I like them being able to do the whole rated R like level type stuff because like Marvel comics aren't really, I guess would say like family friendly as themselves anyways. So like they're able to get more like in depth with certain characters. Like they can go really far back with Daredevil, or they can go really far back with Punisher or Deadpool, and like get really dark and nitty gritty, gory parts about them to help understand about the character. That's why I personally like it.
yeah, and I mean, that's a good point too, is like characters like Punisher and Deadpool, that makes sense. Like Deadpool, dirty-minded, very against the no-kill rule. Like and again, he's not even really a hero, he's an anti-hero, but I mean,
Yeah.
like he still does heroic acts here and there. So, even if they're for self purpose and self justice and whatever have you. But yeah, no, like I would consider him under the superhero category though. um Man, I why am I blanking? Like I swear, like there is a slew or
There's a lot.
library of like characters that I
Oh,
know are
um,
superheroes, but I can't like think.
do you have you ever seen the movie called The Jumper or just Jumper?
I don't think so. Let me
No.
see.
Oh, okay. Um,
The
it's
jumper.
basically about like this guy that can like look at an image and be able to jump from where he's at into that image, and that image is like like if he looked at, let's say he's in New York City and he looked at a postcard of California, he could like look at that postcard and jump to that location in California.
Oh my gosh, Hayden Christensen's the main character?
Yeah,
Holy, I need to watch this.
it's a really good show or movie. Sorry, not show. I liked it a lot growing up. It was really cool. The concept behind it, like people say, like what's one power you can have? And I would have been like, oh, I usually used to say the jumper, but everyone's like, what's that? And I go, never mind. I just have like super strength or super speed or something.
No, that's fair. Like I mean, and kind of like to my point, like stuff like that deserves, recognition and stuff, but because they're not as popular as the big two, no one's gonna recognize them or anything. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to check this out, especially since Hayden Christensen is the main character. Like, I really love him as Anakin, so I would love to see him in other roles. Because personally, I haven't seen him in other roles. Like, I've only really excluded him to Star Wars, which isn't the worst franchise to exclude him to. I know a lot of people are iffy on the prequels and everything, but I quite enjoy them a lot. Um, what was I gonna bring up? Like, I swear, bro, I'm like thinking and then I stop and I'm like, ah. I mean, okay, in this list it said Power Rangers, which yes, and I think I may have already said that already, but yeah, no, I would say Power Rangers falls under that, or like Voltron. Voltron kind of falls under that. Like they're not people with powers per se, but like they have powerful weapons and abilities that they can use to help people, or in this case like the universe. So,
I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm not ignoring you. I was looking up. I'm trying to because there's this movie I used to watch called I Am Number Four. Um, I don't know if you've seen it or anybody else in the comments have or in the video or who's watching has seen it. Um, but I'm trying to figure out because like I think I remember it. If I'm remembering it right, they're like these kids that have this like ability or something in them and they grew up in the woods to keep them away from something so they weren't like taken. I don't know. It's confusing, but it's like these kids have abilities and they weren't raised with their names. They were raised with numbers. So like I am number four and then there's a girl not that who's she's number six and is like I don't know. I'm trying
okay.
to I'm trying to figure out if he's considered a superhero or if they are or whatever, but
Well, do they have powers?
I'm trying to remember. I think they do have powers. Like I think they have yeah, they have super strength and I think super speed.
And then their objective in the film is survival.
Yes.
I am number four, and this was 2011.
2011.
So, aliens and their guardians are hiding on Earth from intergalactic bounty hunters. They can only be killed in numerical order, and number four is next on the list. This is his story. Okay, so they killed one through three, but, four, five, six, and however many others are still alive.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I was kind of
It
hoping that.
says it says I am number four. The main character number four has several powers, including telekinesis, the ability to produce fire, and the ability to uh, communicate with animals.
Okay. So yeah, I would say those are powers, and I mean, even if his, you know, like
Yeah,
even if his objective is survival, if I'm sure he probably does some selfless acts throughout the film. So,
yeah. I
um,
mean, I would consider him like in a form of a superhero. Like he's I don't know. Like he has superpowers. Like he can produce fire from his hands. I mean, and talk to animals. So I would consider him in a form of a superpower, in my opinion. Like my opinion, like superpowers are like someone who has something that a human can't do. Like they can fly or run as faster than the speed of sound or something like that. Like they can do something way out of our league, and that's like a superpower.
well, and I mean, like, yeah, like anything that, like you said, like that hasn't been done now. Like Iron Man, I guess would be considered because like he has a big enough brain to make renewing energy that's also clean, which is the arc reactor energy. So like it doesn't mess with the air or the atmosphere, but it also can charge a suit that can fly and shoot lasers and stuff like that. Like that's a good example of like not exactly having superpower like and it doesn't even have to be biological powers, I guess, to be super. Like superhuman was a part of the definition, sure, but it also just said like abilities that like a human can't normally do. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Mm.
benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers, but, you know.
I'm trying to think of like other movies that I may have seen that are like superheroes.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, even Daredevil doesn't technically have, like, superhuman powers. Like, yes, he can,
True.
like, see with, like, a sixth sense in quotations. Like, I think even in the original comics, it was just like he had increased smell, hearing, and touch. But, you know, in reality, like, yeah, like if a blind person could enhance those abilities like he did where it's a sixth sense, then yeah. But um he was trained by another blind person on how to, you know, like look at the world
Yeah.
differently. Like he can hear someone's heartbeat and tell if they're lying, basically.
Yeah.
So that
I
that would
mean,
be that would be superhuman because a blind person could probably train like that, but still probably not develop a hearing as strong as that. But, you know.
yeah.
And then I also had another idea. It's not technically a franchise yet, but I think it'd be a cool idea. Is a franchise where a bunch of monsters come together to be heroes. Like, I guess the creature commandos, like if you want to throw that in there, but like actually bring in like the classic, like, you know, Frankenstein and the werewolf and, you know, Loch or not Loch Ness well, maybe Loch Ness monster, I don't know, the missing link, Dracula. Like Dracula could be the bad guy, but they
Mm.
have superhuman abilities. Like the werewolf is a man that can transform into a wolf at a full moon, and then, you know, Count Dracula supposedly has super speed, strength, hearing. He drains blood for energy. He can turn into a bat. He can fly. Like all these abilities that, you know, like a human couldn't have. So I guess like a franchise like that, and then I mean Frankenstein's monster. I don't think they can feel pain. They can have a, you know, a limb removed and still be like capable of like pursuing a target or something. You know.
Yeah.
Um, and then the missing link is like a, you know, a fish person that can, you know, breathe underwater but also has like the intelligence of a normal human. Or I think, I don't know, I don't know like a whole lot on the missing link. Like I know there's like, you know, the missing link from
Yeah.
Monsters versus Aliens, and he's supposed to be super funny and everything, but like to actually like the actual origin of the missing link, or like Bigfoot, where it's like a big ape man. We don't like know the actual classifications of his intelligence because it's, you know, been varied in different ways. Like in some like wholesome kid films, he's like been a person that could actually talk like a human and has a kid or
Mm.
whatever. Or like in the Bigfoot video game, like he's just a monster, another monster that goes around killing people. You know, like it's just, it depends on your
Yeah.
version of each of the characters. Like the werewolf, like some people have like done a version where, you know, it's only when it's the full moon that he has the abilities of a wolf, but he also can't remember who he is and whatnot. But then there's also been versions where like outside of his normal savage wolf, uh you know, mind, he can also still have enhanced senses and whatnot. Like basically be Wolverine, and then can transform into a full wolf at the full moon, you know?
Yeah.
And then, of course, another one I just remembered, Harry Potter. Like, would that be
Mm.
classified as, like, yes, it's fantasy, it's modern
Uh,
fantasy, but they are people with extraordinary abilities, and they are born with that extraordinary ability. Like a normal
Is it the
person,
people or is it the wand with the knowledge that they know?
it's the people. Like, because like a
Okay.
muggle couldn't use a wand, or at least not properly, but a wizard could. Like, it would just be basically a stick to a normal person or a muggle. Um, and then they also can do spells, like just by incantating them. Like they can recite something and it will happen. Like Dumbledore became that powerful at one point where he like could say a spell without his wand, like um but it varies, but a wizard like superhero, I mean, you got Doctor Strange or Doctor Fate, or I think that's his name, right? Like,
Yeah, the one with
but
the gold helmet.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like there's characters like those, and that falls under the umbrella. Like, would characters like Harry Potter be considered a superhero? Cuz he's a hero because he fights for the wizarding world, and he technically also fights for the muggle world because that's what, Voldemort wants to destroy. But does that make him a superhero because he has abilities, or would it be considered just fiction because it's a sect of society that has powers, and it's a lot of people instead of like unique individuals? And one could argue that's the same with superheroes, where like there's a lot of superheroes, but it seems like a lot of them are so unique that like it doesn't affect the entire world as much as it does like the wizarding world. So,
I mean, yeah, I believe that it would work.
yeah, I don't know. I
Like,
like, and
I mean, it does feel like it can be a potential gray area, but at the same time, I feel like it makes sense.
yeah. And I mean, like, the other thing is like, does a superhero have to have like a fancy suit and a fancy name and whatever have you to like classify as a superhero? Like it's all those classifications that like it's like, okay, well, does that make it a superhero, or does their powers and what they do with those powers make them a superhero? Like they're an
Yeah.
extraordinary being with abilities and uses them for good. That makes them a superhero, question mark, or is that just make him a hero with those abilities? Like Harry Potter, he's a wizard, but then like, does that just fall under like, okay, well, it's fantasy because and then you think, okay, well, you know that is technically what a superhero falls under, is fantasy, because it can't happen, it's fiction. Like, it's not magical fantasy like Harry Potter, but you know I don't know, would superheroes fall more under science, like, but then
I would,
go.
um, like, I think, like for me, like when I think superheroes, like you know, I was or when anyone thinks superheroes, usually they think super speed, they can fly, they can punch things, they can throw a car, or you know, like super strength, or you know, like breathing underwater, or something that like that I don't know, something that you know humans can't ever possibly do would make is like what most people would think as a superhero. But I think like people that have like the Flash, he's the fastest man alive. He can go run back in time. Or Superman, he has laser vision. He he's basically invincible. He can't get shot. He's bulletproof. He can fly and breathe in outer space. Um, and you got um, like people that have abilities like that is what makes me put in the superhero category. I mean, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying too, because like it's such a huge dilemma because like I was saying before, characters like Doctor Strange um and Doctor Fate. I guess Doctor Fate's suit looks more like a superhero suit than like Doctor Strange, because technically Doctor Strange has more traditional sorcerer robes, but then he has the cloak of levitation, and then he has the Eye of Agamotto that makes him look more like a superhero. Like it gives him more of a unique look compared to like Harry Potter, where they either wear casual clothes or they wear like school robes, like that's what separates them. So like if we were going with that, then superheroes are people that like probably live in a more modern era and then also have powers that can't be explained really by a modern science but could be
Mhm.
like manipulated by like fictional science and stuff. Cause and another thing is a lot of people claim magic as just being science that isn't understood yet, like fully understood yet. So, and I mean, again, like even in Doctor Strange, they try to classify like their version of magic as a type of science that you can learn and develop a skill to like do, and it gets complicated, but that's how they present it. Um,
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about Ghostbusters? Would they be considered superheroes?
Yeah, I would say because like they're taking out something that's unnatural or something that's very far from unhuman, and I mean technically they literally did save the world from hell in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
so I would consider them, yeah, superheroes. 'Cause, like in the newer movies, it's like based off of one of the Ghostbusters kid or grandkids, but like it showed that like he was protecting the gate of hell his entire life, and I mean I feel like that would fall under being like a superhero because like you saved and killed ghosts and like human things and literally fought demons and you're keeping them and locked away. I think that counts as a superhero.
Well, yeah, not only his deeds, like his deeds alone just makes him a hero, but then you think about the technology he uses. It's a lot like Iron Man, where it's like, a suit of armor, but in their case, they got literal like uniforms that show like, oh, we hunt ghosts, but also the technology they use, like, the oh frick, the pack and the gun that they use to catch ghosts and stuff. Like that technology does not exist, but it's like a science fiction that is in a modern age that applies to like saving the day, like again, like fighting ghosts or like you said demons and stuff. So um yeah, I mean, and they drive in a car. They're a team of heroes that like that is unique from like a normal, like some would probably compare them to like firefighters or or policemen, because like they deal with a situation that interrupts modern troubles and such, like um but in their world ghosts are normal, like that's it's almost like pest control, like they're just like a more advanced pest control. um
Yeah.
but and then I think the major danger at both the first and second film, where the big bad guy is like the main problem and everything. um Trying to think of any other uh you got any like that you can think off right off
Um,
the top of your head?
well, what about Mortal Kombat? Because I know there's like good and bad in Mortal Kombat,
Ah,
and they
that
do have movies. So,
well, not only that, like that doesn't have to be the only classification, but you just brought up another one. Like there are most of them are in colorful suits and other wear. A lot of them have different powers and abilities, and like you said, there is a good and evil. Like it's a tournament to fight for the survival of one's world or multiple worlds or something like that. So, yeah, I would say so. Like, I mean, Sub Zero is literally from a clan that can use ice and, to fight people. Or Scorpion, he was dragged down to hell and has the ability to, like, you know, use fire and, like, a chain that can, like, light on fire and stuff. He can breathe fire too, I think. Like,
Yeah, and teleport with it.
yeah. So, I don't think Johnny Cage had any powers, but I don't know. All I know is he's a good fighter. I just don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
his.
Johnny Cage does have powers. I don't know what it is, cause like he has like this like green. I don't know. It's like a green power. I don't know what it is, but it illustrates it in every game that he has. I don't know. I never really understood the lore behind him, but like he always has like this like when he hits a really good punch, his like he'll like have a green glow around his hand, or when he does a backhand kick, he'll have like a green glow with it. I don't know. I think it gives him like extra strength or something.
Okay, so kind of like an enhancement that allows him to fight better. Cause like you watched the
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat movie, right? Like the more recent one.
I haven't seen the more recent one, no, but I've seen the old one.
So in the new ones, I think it's a newer concept, but basically they have like the Mortal Kombat tattoo or whatever, and they're claimed to be like the chosen of, to enter the tournament. I know they're coming out with a second one at some point, but basically that symbol on them gives them powers. Like so, like the black guy with the robot arms. At first, they were like scrawny, like robot arms, but then like when he found his like true potential, they called it something else, I think, but basically his arms like grew and like he was stronger and everything. So it's stuff like that.
Okay. Um, I can't think. Um, because like I mostly grew up with um like Marvel and DC and obviously
Um,
like Dark Horse and stuff, but like
well, and I forgot a very important one because it's not really a show. I think there is comics, and I think there has been shows about it, but duh, my branding, Mega Man. Mega Man is technically a superhero. He's a robot with like a human conscious, like not literally like, but the technology behind his AI makes him feel human cuz like he um imitates human emotion and such. Like that's just how crazy Dr. Light, who's the guy that made him, um that's how he made Mega Man, but he has the ability to take bosses' abilities after you beat them and such. So,
okay, that's cool.
yeah, so and like you can use that in the game, like and each boss has a different weakness, so there's actually like a specific order you're supposed to kill um each boss. Um so that way they're like easier to kill. Like I mean, you can go at random and like some people like it took many people and data miners and stuff to even get the knowledge for that, but It's kind of cool to think like I would like a movie or a show about Mega Man that's good because I one of their recent iterations like sucked. I only watched a little bit of it, but it was really bad, and I think it only got like one season too, and it was immediately canceled. But you know,
Yeah. Would you consider Green Arrow even a superhero or just like someone like Batman?
I mean, I think he falls under the superhero umbrella. He's DC, but yeah, like he has association with like the Flash and a bunch of other heroes that have power. So I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Because like, I mean, I know some people are like, well, he's not a superhero because he just shoots bow and arrows and stuff like that. And I go, I still think he's a hero in my opinion, but
Yeah. I mean, the same could be said about like Hawkeye. Like it's just like increased marksmanship with a an older weapon, you know. So,
or like Deadshot.
yeah. So, and I mean like I feel like their marksmanship could be considered superhuman. Like it's not like literally like in the comics it's just natural skill, but like I don't think anyone could hit their shots like a lot of the characters do in the movies and shows. Maybe they could. Like maybe I'm underselling the skill of an archer, but you know,
I mean, from the stories I heard it's pretty difficult. So
yeah. I mean, I wanted to get good at archery at one point and like I even like when I was in scouts, like I would go to the archery range. Like it was not only sometimes hard to pull back a bowstring, but like just to aim alone, like it takes some like actual skill to hit a target and whatnot. But that is all of our time for now. So thank you, Travis, for joining me this week, and thank you everyone that was in the chat or whatever. Also, if you guys would like to, in the comments section, if you guys want to, talk amongst yourselves about what you would classify as a superhero franchise. Keep it civil. Like I know, like maybe some of the stuff we mentioned is kind of outlandish to you guys. Like I mean, we were kind of drawing at straws. Like I could have probably talked a little bit more about characters like Spawn and Invincible, but you know, we got to a point where we wanted to like define what an actual hero was or superhero was. Um, but yeah, we appreciate all you. Go check out Griffin Shock on both Twitch and YouTube. You can find me at multi-might on YouTube, as well as Multimite on Twitch. If you're already here, though, probably know that. If you guys haven't already, go check out the Sense of Humor Podcast YouTube channel. All our past episodes are on there, so if you missed any or if you want to go back and rewatch some old ones or re-listen to some old ones, they'll be there. But yeah, without further ado, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
peace.